My purpose for building these automations within Notion is to limit the distractions in my workday. The more time that I spend app hopping, the more I'm prone to amnesia. Hey friends, welcome back to Automated Notion, where we put your Notion to work for you. Now, what exactly is amnesia? Well, it's when you go to your phone or your web browser for a specific reason and somehow end up on Facebook or Instagram. I hate when that happens because then I spend at least 10 or 15 minutes scrolling and then I realize this is not what I came here for. While I don't believe in putting my entire life into Notion, I do feel like having these integrations, it limits the amount of time I have to actually leave the Notion browser and go to another app. So if I have to go to my email or my calendar back and forth, then I'm more likely to go off on a tangent and end up on social media. So if I have my emails for that project front and center, I'm going to end up finishing that project even quicker and then get on with my life. So that's why today I am going to discuss how I actually get my emails into my Notion. So I have my email database here. I have two check boxes first, archive and read, to help me filter and sort my emails. Next, I have the date that the email came in. Of course, the email subject, and then who the email was from, the attachments link, which I'll explain later, the inbox URL, so that I can click back to Gmail to reply. And then I have my Gmail ID, which I actually utilize for a different automation. So next I have my brand new automation notion@gmail.com inbox. And so I'm just going to create my first label for Notion. So go to label as, create new, and I'll just type in Notion here and then hit create. So now we're going to jump over to Zapier and we're going to select our trigger app, which is Gmail. Our trigger event will be new labeled email. Here you'll be able to connect your account if you haven't already. Just grant Zapier access and then select the email account. And then we'll set up our trigger and tell Gmail to only pull the emails labeled Notion. Zapier gives us the option to test our trigger. So we only have one email in our email account. So if that didn't work, then we'd be in trouble, I guess. Before we connect Notion, I'm actually going to create a filter, because if I just go straight to Notion, I'm going to receive every email with that label, including my sent emails. So I'm going to create a filter here that says continue only if the from email address does not contain my email address. So our filter is good. Let's go ahead and connect Notion. Again, if this is your first time, you'll be able to connect your Notion account from here. First, select your event, create database item, and then connect a new account. And then here you'll be able to paste in your super secret Notion API key. And now we'll connect our database, and it looks like I have not shared this to Zapier. So let's go back to Notion, click share, and then we'll just send Zapier an invite to the database. Now that we're connected, we'll start filling in our properties. Obviously, for subject, we're going to select subject. Now for our attachments, it says exists but not shown. There's actually a link here, but I guess it's too large to show here. So you want to select all attachments. And then just continue. We're pulling out date, and then our from email, and then our inbox URL is actually our message URL. I just labeled it inbox because that's just how I think of it. We'll skip red, and then we'll pull through the body of our email into our content section. And continue. So now we'll be able to test our action on the email that we pulled through. Okay, so this was successful. So let's go back to Notion. And the first thing you see is this very large attachments link. So I'll go ahead and download my attachment to wherever I want it. I'm going to save this to my desktop. And then you can always hide the attachments link. Then you also see the inbox URL that'll take you back to Gmail. And then now let me show you what I do with the Gmail ID. We're actually going to hop over to automate.io. We'll create a bot that'll look for updated database items in our Gmail database. Next, we'll tell Gmail to search for any email matching our Gmail ID. Then you want to select Add a Filter. In addition to matching the Gmail ID, we also want to make sure that the item in our database is checked off to be archived. So the archive box is true. Then we'll tell it to go ahead and archive that email in Gmail. And once again, we'll apply our Gmail ID. Now let's save and we'll run this. I'll go back to my Notion and select archive. So it's going to go through my database. It found the archived email. It's now in Gmail. It's met all the criteria, and now it's archived. I don't want you to think that I'm implementing these automations willy-nilly just for fun. I've definitely sat down and thought about the pain points within my productivity system and how I can streamline things. I hope in future episodes that I can share with you some solutions on how I better manage my projects and my tasks. If you have any automations that you like to see that help streamline your workflow, please feel free to drop a message below. Until next time, happy building in Notion.